It's funny how my ex Jen doesn't remember or speak of the fact of when my cousin Vern lived with us. Oh, yeah, big boy. I would stand him on his head by his ankles. Yep. Or Chris Ewing, which he was doing this to goof off, but he came to our yard and started yelling, Dave Jackson, I'm calling you out, which it was hilarious. And I'm like, Chris, really? He's like, yeah. So I walked down there, and all I did was throw a knee in his stomach, and he hit the ground. He's like, oh. I'm like, damn, dude, I thought you could take more than that. He's like, I'm done. Another dude that's 6'2", 300 pounds. But Chris was a goofy, good dude. Red-haired Chris Ewing. There's a lot of Chris Ewings. And come to find out, he was related to Tiffany. I didn't know that until afterwards. But yeah, these people know, and not from me being, violent towards them. It's just they've seen me have to handle myself, and I've done it very adequately. And it's not all me. He will protect the one that's in the right. Right now, there's a lot of people in the right that are getting nailed by life and the way it's set up, by all these so-called groups that are trying to act as a god on earth, kind of like our government. They try to act like God on earth. They were supposed to be a security system that listened to the people. They don't do that. Not now. They have so much power, which I would love to know where all that comes from, because that is someone having power over you is not real. The only one that has power over you is you. That's why you have free will. See, they can't have power over you unless you allow them to. Now, they can manipulate others and, stuff around you to mess with your life, especially if they can't control you. That's how they do it. There's a lot of other things that they can do, but that's, that's why I call governments the beast system, because they try to act like God. We are the final authority, and we cast our judgment on your situation. So, your judgment doesn't matter. Now, in some instances, it is kind of an angel of light, because it did start out trying to get bad people put where they should be, but now it's not that. That's why it is considered an angel of light. Yeah, that's what the Bible says. When they say peace and safety, sudden destruction comes upon them. Boy, who is always saying that they are trying to provide us with peace and safety, and it is apparent that they are not. Our government. And a lot of people argue with me on this one, because they believe that the mark is supposed to be some type of, AI thing or something like that. That doesn't mean it has to be. That's just what they think. It says the mark will be in the hand, right hand, or in the forehead. Think about money. Think about it. Didn't Jesus flip the money changers' table? Who are the money changers? The bankers. Who runs the courts? The bankers. I mean, if you want to know the company name, it's BlackRock, which is a part of the central banks. Yes. I know you all heard of Rothschild. That's exactly who it is. So, if that's the case, We have all accepted it. Hmm. Except for the ones that live off grid and don't mess with money at all, and tribes that don't know anything about the stuff that we do. And some of them do know, but they won't, indulge in it. Now, for his people that were, some of his people that were tricked and took the mark so they could be next to some of the people that need to hear, how to get out of it, or, at least behave. Um, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to have mercy on them or not. Now, the Bible says that he won't. Anybody that accepts the mark, will be done. And we have all done that. Everything we accept, that knowledge came from the fallen angels, the ones that came down and corrupted God's creation. Yeah, that's where we get a lot of our farming. That's where we get irrigation. That's where we get plumbing, building, trade, all that stuff. Because trade today is, even back then, it wasn't the way it was supposed to be. Trade is actual trade, no money. Just, I have this good, or I grew this crop, and I have plenty to trade for something else I need. See, the trade and barter system is what actually built a lot more trust in communities and things, because you relied on each other for what you didn't have and what you could do. But when money comes into that, it really disrupts that. And we all know that money is the root of all evil. You cannot buy or sell without it. It is always on the mind, and it is normally received in the right hand. Does it have marks all over it? Yes. Does it say, "In God we trust" on it? Yeah. Doesn't say what God. To the people that printed it, God could be something else, which is also a deception. It doesn't say, "In Jesus we trust," it says, "In God." And it's funny because even the name God isn't Jesus' father's real name. That's just what we say. But anyway, yeah, that's what I think. And I'm doing that off of facts. Is it a fact that we know that money is the root of all evil? Yes. Is it a fact that in the Christian religion that Jesus flipped tables dealing with taxation and bankers? Yes. A lot of people think he was upset because, you know, that Caesar was trying to, I guess, take over and act like God, which he was. But there's also another factor there. He created all this stuff for all of us to share. He never said we had to charge each other. And I know the Democrats are pushing for something like that, but it's not going to be the same. That's another deception. That's also could be another angel of light, because it looks like when they mention that that a lot of people want everything to be free, which it should be. There's nothing saying that things have to cost money. Think about it. Everything can still be produced. Everything can still be made. Everybody can still go and help out. Right. The only reason why all these factories and everything is here is because nobody is living off the land. Now, farmers and stuff like that do, but they're involved too. And we have to pay truckers, we have to pay, all this other stuff, and people get pulled away from their families and all that. It comes to a point where people don't know how to grow food. Some of them don't even know how to cook food now because of fast food and restaurants, which to some people that never learned, I guess that's another angel of light, because look what it does. You don't learn key elements to life and survival by allowing that stuff to take over. Right? Most people don't know how to clean a fish. Most people don't know how to butcher their own meat. And what do they say? Oh, that's cruelty to animals. But they'll go to a grocery store and buy it because it's in a nice, neat package. So just because you didn't get to see all the stuff that goes on to make that means what? Nothing. An animal still died, still got butchered, and just presented to the person in a nicer form. Also, it takes away Adam's curse. We are supposed to work hard, sweat of our brow, with our backs. That is our curse for accepting the fruit from Eve. And I really think the fruit that they were talking about was cane, not an apple. Yes. Enmity between the seed I shall bruise, thy head and thy heel. You know what's really funny? When Kyle was born, the doctor did not catch him. He hit the bed, and he had a bruise, looked like a halo from pelvic bone, and he had a bruise on his heel. Yes, he did. Yeah, that little guy, I had his footprints on my arm. You realize I put tape over that so it wouldn't go anywhere? And when I took a shower, I'd wash around it and make sure I didn't get it wet. I kept that on my arm until it faded off on its own. I even had, I hate to say this because it's kind of but I had the blood from the umbilical cord that I cut on my tan shirt. And I just put it in a frame. Yeah. But anyway. Y'all might not believe in God. But that's okay. That's your choice. But there's way, 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 way too much evidence. There's way too much. Surely is. Even AI says that the Bible is real and truthful. And AI is demonic. But they can't deny Jesus or God. But they can get in the church now. Yep. Y'all might want to think about the things I've said. If not, that's on you. But I really think we are in trib. Look what's going on. It's going to get worse. That's just the start. We have people killing God's children before they even come out of the womb. That's the devil. I don't care what y'all say. That's the devil. That's exactly what he wants to do. That's what war does. Do you know where war came from? Azazel. Fallen angel that taught metallurgy and war. Imagine that. Forbidden knowledge. What did Adam and Eve take the fruit from, even though it's a parable? The tree of knowledge. So they accepted a level of knowledge. And to be fruitful back in that day was to have a child. Or to produce, works. Your works produce fruit, like as in grains, this, that, a house, or some type of, shelter or clothing. But in this case, it meant a child. And that's where Cain came from. Yeah. That was the seed of Satan. Cheating even then, huh?